Zaz, do you imagine that after all of the years as a public figure, going into places where he's meeting people and interacting with people, that David Samson would be good or bad at social interactions with new people?
He should be good.
But do you assume he is good? Do you assume, like the rest of you, do you assume that David Samson can walk into a room and interact with others well?
I do.
And we're off.
I do. I do assume that because based on what his career was prior to doing what he does now, you have to be able to schmooze.
So he doesn't have much of a relationship yet with Trista. He's interacted with her in person next to not at all. And today, upon seeing her, what he says is, quite a difference from last night. You dressed today in your PJs.
Yeah.
And I said, bitch?
That is what you said. That was exactly the first word that she said after you said that. And then you react totally. You start backtracking with, what, is that bad? Is that pejorative? I didn't mean anything by it.
No, I actually did mean. I thought that you looked great, but last night you were in a gown, and today you are in something far more casual, and it seemed like pajama wear, which, by the way, can be beautiful.
He said, oh, I didn't mean that as a pejorative. It's like, bitch, please. PJs is about as much of a pejorative as you can get. And then the thing that was so fucking crazy was I need to now put my attention on you and your fit. What a wild departure from the paisley, shiny tux that you wore that was fabulous to cargo shorts and flip-flops with bare feet, and I think a tattoo on your foot, and some sort of floral button-up. I was ready to go full hood. And then I was, you know what, this is not, we just gotta okay, I don't know Samson, and let's just keep it cute.
It is an interesting look. Cam from Modern Family up top, Dave Matthews Band concert going on the bottom.
Your cameras are from the mid-range up. I could be in my
Thank God for
skivvies.
that.
It wouldn't matter.
Except for that we have people pointing out what we're wearing on the bottom.
I was referring to the top.
Put it on the poll, please, Juju, at Le Batard Show. Do you know anyone under the age of 100 who refers to undergarments as skivvies?
Spectacular start.
Ain't that the truth?
Basketball. Time for our favorite winter sport. The summertime is over, so let's head down to the court. Time for the tip-off. Give me fast breaks on the attack. Will you shoot a three or take it to the rack? Basketball is back, Jack. It's a dream shake down in the post, or a killer cross you love the most. When the offense tries to run and gun, is it man-to-man or box and one? It's big plays and talking smack. That's how you know that basketball is back, Jack. Let me hear you say, basketball, basketball, basketball. Basketball is back, Jack. 360 dunks and pick and rolls. And we're gonna watch it every day till they raise the Larry O. Hard fouls and hook shots, a dagger three and hack a shack. If you say this game's the best, I'll say the gag. Basketball is back, Jack. Basketball is back, Jack. Basketball is back. Basketball is back, Jack.
That was a lot of fun last night, but we're wearing it today, and we'll wear it all week when we do those Sunday night shows. Generally by Thursday, we're slurring. Me most of all. Tony.
Yes, we are all slurring.
Tony is out sick. He won't be slurring because he just took the next day off. All of a sudden, he was fine last night, but he's sick this morning. I don't.
Sick.
I don't
He
know.
sounded bad yesterday.
Well, you sound bad as the inner monologue sounds like it's got a cold.
I'm playing hurt, but I'm here. I come here, man.
You're playing hurt. You left the show 45 minutes in last night with stomach issues. A lot of people were suggesting that my popcorn made people sick, which I object to. Trista has given no greater compliment around here in the time that she's been here than saluting the popcorn. She does not believe it made anybody sick.
I also think if anybody's slandering the popcorn, it's because very clearly the popcorn's coming from a bag. Like if you made the popcorn fresh, put some butter instead of coconut oil, and then mix the hot butter with the seasoning that you concocted in a great and culinary way, I mean, we are talking about 100 out of 100.
Yeah, I like your popcorn, but I wasn't going to have any because I knew intake would just be a bad idea for me yesterday. 45 minutes, man. Whew, you have a weird relationship with time.
I think that Tony's sulking. You lose 2-1. He was all about
Because he
Dominican.
jinxed DR, yeah.
Well, we're going to talk about the way that game ended because I understand why the Dominican Republic is mad. Mason Miller's hard enough to hit without giving him strikes that aren't strikes. When he had come into the performance last night having struck out 19 of the previous 20 batters because nobody can hit him because he throws the ball harder than anybody in the history of Major League Baseball, right? Like this is the hardest thrower there has ever been in big league history,
You
correct?
can hit velocity. It's the sort of knockout slider.
Well,
When
you say
combine
you
that.
say you can hit velocity, but yes or no, he throws harder than anyone has ever thrown a baseball.
I don't think that's right, but he has great velocity, but he's not Sid Finch or anything.
Harder than Nolan Ryan?
Sid Finch was fictional, and yes, harder than Nolan Ryan because he throws 105, and that's not something that any other human being has been able to do. We'll get to that game in a second, but
Aroldis Chapman?
he's the only one who would be close. And if you looked it up, you could find fastest baseballs ever thrown, and it'll be either this guy or Chapman.
Or Nolan Ryan.
It's not going to be Nolan Ryan.
Give iShow Speed 3 weeks.
But the first thing that I want to do is I want to point out that David Samson said hello to Trista in a unpleasant way today. She reacted by saying to him, bitch, in a tone I hadn't quite heard from a human being before because it was loaded. It had an undercurrent of acid on it. Like I have it the way that you said to her, you said she was wearing PJs. She came back at you with something that was like it came from hell. It was not pleasant. It came from underneath her, then came through her, and she said bitch to you in a way that frightened me.
It was a threat. Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things that it just pops out of me. And I've tried my whole career to keep that inside, but that's living as an undercurrent. That, whatever that is, at all times. So just be advised.
But you also did something, right? You explained to him, as if you were on the red carpet, you explained to him what you're presently wearing. You acted as if he had asked you, tell me about your designer, because you immediately went into Adidas wear and what it is that you were wearing that you're hipper than what he wears.
Yeah, this is a Farm Rio Adidas collaboration. That's a track pant. And this is a Flage graphic tee. To give some shine to the ladies tournament since it was all hell breaking loose by the time my top 5 list came down, and I think that part was a train wreck, so this is just an homage.
Yeah, what are you giving shine to, huh?
I was just telling her that I thought that from last night to this morning, and I'm sorry, I'm trying to be better. I am trying to be better. I have not been spoken to that way by anyone, and I don't mean whatever I've done for a living. I mean, like anyone, like at the height of bullying to the height of running a Major League Baseball
liked it.
team. That tone.
Kind of turned him on.
Not a kid, not a parent, not an ex-wife.
No one's talked to you like that ever?
That tone? I've never heard anyone talk to me.
Well,
that
but
You got to get around more black folks.
Girardi must have. I think, dude,
Bobby
I think
Valentine,
the legend is
Bobby
like,
Valentine for sure. talked to
Girardi
him
did
that
it
way.
like day one.
You're missing the difference. I'm not saying that I have not been spoken down to. I'm not saying that I've not been absolutely mistreated. I'm talking about the tone of the word bitch.
I'd never heard it said that way before.
Can you put together a top 5 people in baseball that have called you that word?
Bitch that
Yeah.
way?
Not that way, but just that way. Like,
Yeah,
just,
top five. Put together a top five
hurl
list
that
of-
insult
of,
at you.
Maybe not that insult, but just who have talked to you the worst
Dan,
from bottom
surely
to top.
5 people in baseball must have called him that word.
We
Not
will.
behind my back, maybe, but not to me.
Okay,
That was amazing.
put together a top 5 list for us here. Zaslow went to the wrong Heat game with his son. The Magic own the Heat the way that the Knicks own the Raptors.
0-5.
Yeah.
0-5.
Yeah, they can't beat a younger, longer team, even if it doesn't have one of its better players. Orlando's going to be a problem for them, period, because it's not like the Heat didn't play their guys in that game. They didn't have Wiggins, but they had everybody else.
Yeah, they had Pat Owen Hero for the first time in like weeks. We had fun, all right? The game got close. The Heat were down double figures the whole night. It's only the second Heat game I've been to in several years. And there's a myriad of reasons why, but my younger son, my 14-year-old Jordan, is really into the Heat now. And especially, not that it's like all of a sudden over the last few days, but the Bam Adebayo performance last week, he is like obsessed now, all right? And so we went to the game Saturday, and it was fun. And the Heat made it close late, so that was cool.
How's Uptown Dale doing?
He wasn't there, actually, to be honest with you. I don't know what
Why
he's
are you
up to.
assuming that he sits in Uptown?
No, I
Why-
mean, Dan, you're showing your. I
Yeah,
mean,
you
Uptown
have,
Dale's
when's the last
all
time
around.
you went to a Heat game?
Uptown Dale,
I
he's a
got
man of the
season
people.
tickets, buddy.
Okay.
Oh,
but when's the last
Same
time you went?
question.
Yeah, same
6
question.
Weeks ago, 6 weeks ago.
So I had a very interesting experience at the Heat game Saturday night because I realized, oh my God, I'm bringing myself to Heat games, and I am feeling like my father at Heat games, which is a weird experience. Anyone who's a father and you have those moments where, oh, I sound just like my dad. That's really weird. I'm feeling that now because I used to be a maniac at the Heat games, all right? Especially when I was my son's age, when I was 14 years old. It is life and death, a regular season game on a Saturday night. And I'm watching the game with him. We're there, and it's exciting, but like I'm very calm, and I'm watching the game. You're not going to get a reaction to me. I've seen what's in front of me a million times, okay? So, like, I'm enjoying the game, but I'm not getting rowdy or anything. I'm just watching. And my son next to me is so into it. And I'm pulling the move. Like, he's angry when they're losing. And with 4 minutes left, I'm like, hey, if the Heat don't score a couple baskets in a row here,
Start
we're
planning the exit.
going to get out of here, all right? And he's like, no, but what if they come back and what if this happens or this? You know, I'm like, all right, well, what if it's 3 minutes left? They're not. It's like, no. So like, I'm my father now.
You're
at the
planning
games.
to beat traffic.
Yeah.
That's what all
Yes.
you're doing. Can you put together for me, please, a top 5 reasons of the myriad reasons that you're not going to Heat games? 'Cause
Okay, I
I
could
think
do
there's
that.
only one.
No, I could do that.
I think the only reason is pride over not renewing your contract.
I can do that, okay? But I'm feeling like my father now at the games, and I'm realizing I'm with me the way that he's behaving at the games.
You as a kid.
Yeah, me at his age, at 14, you know, where he's angry, but then he's really excited, and it's altering his mood one way or the other. And it was a very interesting experience.
Well, what
for
do you
me.
say about interesting? What are you trying to cover with that word? Were you mortified by it? Whenever I'm behaving like my father, I don't know how many of you guys have this now. I imagine I might be the only one who's behaving like his father in a way. When I see it, I'm totally mortified. Like, I hate that I see it. I hate that my wife sees it. I hate that anybody sees it.
How does she know how your father is?
Well, she'll point something out to me, and then I will say, yeah, my father did that. and so that's how that happens.
So, no, I'm not mortified at all. And although it's a little bit weird when I sound like my father, and certainly at the Heat game where, I mean, I would never leave a Heat game early when I was a kid. You would have to drag me kicking and screaming. But I'm plotting my exit. That's a little bit weird, all right? But no, I enjoyed it very much. I liked that, oh my God, he's behaving the way that I used to behave. This must be how my father felt. I haven't programmed him to be like this. I didn't make either one of my boys huge sports fans. I would like it if they are, but
I could have, but I didn't.
Yeah, like I didn't force any of it on them.
You say that you didn't make this, but you're their environment. Like, they're watching you. You're not doing this stuff actively, but you're an insane person. They hear dad in the other room doing a show where it sounds like he's talking to himself for an hour. Zaslow 2.0. That's what they grew up around.
Do they call it the Zaslow Mansion?
No.
Why
That's
is
kinda
Dad,
sad.
Mom, why is Dad going into that room for an hour and just talking real loud, and he's not talking he's not talking to anybody. He closes the door. What's he doing in that room in there?
When I do come down from doing my show, if everybody is home, okay, like maybe they didn't have school that day, when I do come down from doing my show, and I do it, in the Zaslow Mansion Network Studios, and when I come out from recording the show, they're like all downstairs, and there'll be like this look on me, because even though I'm sequestered in another portion of the house, that they could hear the entire show.
Do they do things that remind
Talking your
you
cadence?
of yourself? Like, I'm sure it'll be like very clear to them when they start turning into you.
Yes.
This steak is awesome.
No, my younger one makes fun of me. Like, he'll talk in my voice, and he'll make fun of me.
Oh, I want to hear that.
I want to hear that too.
he'll
Right to your face, disrespectfully, he will do the marbles in the mouth thing.
It's
Dad,
become-
I'm not cleaning my room.
Well, it's become a pastime in the house. It's the way that my children, my teenage boys, and my wife bond, which is them making fun of me. That is a
So
big
everyone does
bonding
it.
moment in the home.
I think that's true of every dad in every home. I think that is a universal thing that happens.
No, there's fear. A lot of homes, there's fear.
Hey, Dad, can I stay up late?
I will say you know what? Let me take it back because I made it too absolute. In the homes that have functional relationships that are loving, I feel like everyone turns on the dad to make fun of him.
Have you seen the Manosphere doc? The dad's not around.
I did see that, and I was mortified by that as well. While I'm watching that documentary, I'm saying to myself, that's how I got left behind for 15 years on what a generation of kids became to vote for Trump. That's exactly how it happened. Watching something that I did not have access to on the internet, boys trying to teach boys how to be men and getting it all wrong. That documentary was that guy only makes, Thoreau's his name, right? He only makes good documentaries. He did the Scientology documentary. I urge you to watch it if you have not seen it. It's just about the manosphere. I want to get to these top 5 lists, though, because Trista's got one as well in honor of the tournament. And we've got our Looks Like game to introduce. We're bringing it back here. Dave Damashek is the voice of this year's tournament, and I want to do this now, the March Sadness tournament, before we get to the top 5 of David's people who have called him bitch, and Zaslow's top 5 on reasons, myriad reasons that he has only gone to 2 Heat games in several years, and Trista's top 5 on games to watch in this tournament. We begin our Looks Like tournament with the play-in games, which are tomorrow night, 6:40 p.m. in the Midwest region. Number 16, Howard, is represented by
Adam Silver looks like the last lollipop in the jar at the doctor's office.
That is true. Adam Silver has still perpetually a ton of teams in this tournament. UMBC is also from the Adam Silver Conference, also a 16 seed in the play-in game.
Adam Silver looks like a magician's wand.
So we'll see which of those gets into the big dance.
In the West region, Tuesday, you've got NC State out of a weak ACC, a top-heavy ACC, but an otherwise weak ACC. NC State is represented by
Adam Silver looks like the 4-star general in a post-apocalyptic movie faced with the daunting reality of an alien invasion and the likely end of humanity as we know it, who says, staring off into the distance, "They're already here. We're the aliens now."
that is facing number 11, Texas.
Adam Silver looks like an Apple Watch charger.
Represented by Adam Silver. I think we can do
Loaded conference.
I think we could do the whole tournament on just Adam Silver's. It would be funny if we did it that way. Let's get to the top 5 of David Sampson on top 5 people who have talked the worst to him in his baseball career or otherwise. Any OLI, or are you starting with number 5?
I'm going right to number 5.
Number 5.
Matt Sosnick. Matt Sosnick had a bunch of our players. He's an agent. Dontrell Willis and Ricky Nolasco, and he would make his players tattoo his name on them.
Get out of here.
So if you look at
That can't be true.
it's okay. You say
No, I mean, I
kiss
believe it,
my
but that's
ass.
just wild.
Go ask Dontrell
That's-
whether he has a tattoo of Matt Sosnick, and the answer is
Crazy.
yes. And
Of his name, of his
yes.
picture, of
no name. Yes.
He brands his clients.
It's something. It's something.
I'm paying you 7% of my salary, and I got to tattoo your name on myself? No.
It's an outrage. So, we would not give Dontrell what Dontrell wanted as a first-time arbitration-eligible player. He was good, as you remember, World Series, et cetera, et cetera. And he took it very personally. He was not a very experienced agent. He had a bunch of young guys. He had Scott Olson. Remember him?
Oh,
the
yeah.
sweaty guy. And he basically impugned any knowledge I had on the arbitration system, and we took him down. But he was unbelievably rude and ridiculous. His name is Matt Sosnick.
Number 4.
Jeff Torborg.
Really, an otherwise nice man, otherwise very polite and professional.
Jeff Torborg is
The
neither
financier?
nice nor professional.
Is he still with us?
No. But I said this when he was alive. Jeff Torborg was a difficult manager, and we were very happy when we were able to let him go. There is a documentary about his life that's interesting, no question about it, but just not nice. It was his way or the highway.
His son was a wrestler.
His son was a wrestler. His son did the documentary, actually. Dale, we had to hire his son, his other son, to do arbitration, which we got around and never did. Anyway, it didn't work out, and he attacked us. He's a mean mofo.
I've really nothing to add on him, but the arbitration process, I feel like just kind of scummy by nature.
We'd love to get rid of it. The players won't. So that's one of the great misunderstandings in collective bargaining, is that every year the owners say, let's get rid of arbitration. Every year the players say we want it.
There's no way that you can come back from arbitration and feel good feelings, right? Like, how long does it take for people to start feeling like okay about one another after you've just sullied the reputation?
It's hours of your employer telling you why you don't deserve as much money as you think you deserve.
It's been great. I've met players in arbitration for the first time. I've passed notes back and forth to players during arbitration. There's a lot of love. It's not what people say. Corbin Burns is the only player I know who's such a wussy, who says, oh, I feel so hurt that the Brewers said this about me. It's the process, dude. Like, shut up.
But it's the process, and it's inhumane and cold and hurts.
Then get rid of it.
Okay, but
it pays a
hurts.
lot of money to players. Hey, would you do an arbitration here? I'm just asking, would you sit before a panel?
That'd be terrible.
If you had a chance to argue your merits to get a raise to 5x what you're being paid now, would you allow them to tell you that you're late?
No, I don't. I don't want to do that, because a lot of what I bring to the table is my tone of voice and my bitches and my little witty banter, and that's very hard to express how much value that brings to a broadcast.
You need better representation.
Number 3,
Bud Selig. Bud Selig is still with us, but man, he is very direct, and I will never forget the day that he called and asked me why there was a hurricane in Miami. That he blamed the Marlins for a hurricane in Miami.
What?
Yeah, that's a true story. We were putting shutters up, and he wanted to know why we were not playing a game.
Number 2.
Joe Girardi. He's an absolute bastard. He knows it. Everyone knows it who has ever played with him. They can deny it all they want. They know exactly who he was and what kind of person, the things that he would say that were so disrespectful that he makes you, Trista, look like, Lady Di.
Like what?
I said Lady Di.
No, like what would he say?
I thought you were telling her, hey, Lady Di. Number 1.
Number 1 is Jerry Reinsdorf.
Wait, sir.
Jerry Reinsdorf came up to me at the Hall of Fame this past July. I was with my son, and back when life was perfect for me. And he comes up, and he looks at my son, who is a Wall Street banker, and says, I'm so sorry that's your dad. Right to my son.
Jeter doesn't make the list?
No, he's not worthy of it. I would never. I'm sorry you even brought him up.
Zaslow, do you have in front of you your top 5 myriad reasons that you haven't been to but a couple of Heat games in the last few years?
I do. I have.
Any OLI?
Yes.
Okay. What's the OLI?
OLI, I've seen it all. I was on the broadcast for 12 years. I've been through all of the good times. It's never going to get better than what I actually saw. That's OLI.
Number 5.
The regular season in the NBA last year stinks. Let's be honest. Number 4, I live in Cooper City. I'm right by the Sawgrass. The Florida Panthers are so much closer. Number 3, the traffic here in downtown Miami. I didn't know because for all 12 of those years I was on the Heat broadcast, I would arrive hours before the game. And then when I wasn't on the broadcast anymore, I was like, this is what everyone goes through?
Zaslow, do you know what they're pantomiming to you in the other room?
Dance with me, Zaz.
Because you got to dance with the fanfare music. You give it to them quick. You say what the number is, and you don't keep talking. You give him a couple of words on what the number is, and then you let him hit the fanfare, and then you elaborate. I thought you were a professional. I thought you'd seen it all.
Number 2, seeing certain people.
See the difference? Do you
Now
see?
go on.
Do you see how much better that works when you dance with Chris Cote and you don't make him sit there and try and drag you around while you're stepping on both of his feet?
Seeing certain people. I'm not trying to see everybody. I'm trying to see like regular fans, that's for sure. But people who work there, maybe that I worked with. Not trying to
Like
see
who?
certain people.
Enemies? Would you call them enemies?
No, but it's just like I don't really want to be around media people, from down here so much anymore because I kind of feel like I was.
You're above them?
So you do
No,
this.
no, I don't feel that I'm above them. No, that's not that at all. But like I don't know, it's like hey, there's Zaslow. Remember he used to work here, now he doesn't.
Now he's in a big show like Dan Le Batard Show.
Well, that's
on
how
Meadowlark.
that's how I should feel, but that is not how I do feel.
We know who you're talking about.
Yeah. Yep.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't like him either.
I'm not sure that I know who you're referencing.
It's all right.
All right, you'll tell me later.
What?
Number
Boy,
one.
That's great for the show. Who are you talking about?
So
Say
tell
names.
me. So tell me now who you're talking about.
Nah.
Number 1, I'm old and I'm tired. I mean, it's really as simple as that. I'm old and I'm tired. I mean, come on. Do I want to go out on Wednesday night? No, I want to stay home.
You're also working a lot.
Yes.
You're always in a room in your house shouting, mortifying your family so that when you come downstairs, they're
Right.
doing impersonations of you and how you sound in that room.
I look forward to my evenings. I really do. I look forward to my evenings at home. I just relax. I watch the games. Do I want to go out?
Put
not
it
as
on the
much.
Yeah, you
poll.
old.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Is the first sign that you're getting old that you look forward to your evenings alone at home at night?
Just calling them evenings is.
Yeah, I'll put it on the poll as well. At Le Batard Show is the first sign you're getting old that you call them evenings. At Le Batard
And
Show.
look, I don't think I look that old because I got a Benjamin Buttons thing going on here, but like I feel tired.
I
Is
don't
it
know how old
multiple
you are.
buttons?
What, huh?
Benjamin, I don't think he looks young. When you say I don't know exactly how old he is. I'd guess mid-40s, but I don't think he looks younger than his age. I don't look at him and say there's youth personified.
But I look younger than I did maybe a few years ago.
Well, that's morning radio, though.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Morning radio makes you the way that you grade more than Obama in the White House.
I gave years to that radio station.
No, Zaz found the secret to aging very early on. Yeah. At 20, he looked 45.
Yeah.
You looked like Kansas State football coach Bill Snyder.
Whoa.
When you were 25 years old. Former Kansas State football coach. Before I get to Trista's top 5 on games you need to watch for in the tournament, I want to go back to our Looks Like tournament here. And I want to go to the South region and just get through some of these play-in games before they get played. Lehigh is also a 16 seed, and Lehigh is represented by
Kurt Signetti looks like the dad that never says I love you.
that is facing number 16 Prairie View, which is represented by
Kurt Signetti looks like your accountant who, unbeknownst to you, is in the middle of a crippling divorce.
Crippling.
Crippling's a good word there. It's the key to the joke. Wednesday has what used to be the undefeated Miami of Ohio program before they lost immediately first game of the tournament. They have an undefeated regular season, and then they play in their stinky little tournament, and they lose the first game to UMass. That is represented by
Jonathan Zaslow looks like the guy in an arcade who puts a stack of quarters on the Pac-Man game to send a message to any kids that he's going to be there a while.
That's facing Zaslow's had a big tournament. The Zaslow Conference is strong in this tournament. That's facing number 11 SMU, represented by
Bruce Pearl looks like the nightclub manager that has a $100 bottle special before midnight.
Isn't that the truth? Like, that is unbelievable how Bruce Pearl prowls a nightclub after 1 a.m.
How many girls you got with you? None? That's all right.
Zaslow, how did you feel as a Heat fan about the fact that late in this season, as teams are trying to get everything together before they play in the playoffs, Orlando looks a lot like the team we expected to see before the season, even if they don't have their best players? Orlando was expected to be a top 3 East in the team after getting Desmond Bane. Suggs is back and he's playing for them. He's an important piece for them, and they're playing better. They came in on a 6-game winning streak. The Heat had beaten a lot of bad teams. The Heat's schedule got difficult with Orlando. They've got 7 tough games in a row. Mike does not believe in this Heat team. Jeremy says we need to apologize to him after the 83-point Bam Adebayo performance. Where are you on this Heat team after losing that home game to a team that has owned you this season?
Yeah, I think if they finish 5th or 6th, right now they're 7th. After that loss, they're 2 games back of now Orlando. I think if they finish 5th or 6th, they have an opportunity to have a fun first-round series.
Did you just burp? Was that last night's food that you
No.
just burped up there?
Looked like a stifling of a burp. At
Yeah,
least.
like
Very
I
impressive.
held it in.
It was
Okay,
like,
so you
it was almost the Stan Van. I call it the Stan Van Gundy, like mid-sentence.
Yeah.
You know, Greg Monroe.
Yeah, I held that in, baby. If the Heat get up to 5 or 6, they have a chance for a fun first-round series, I believe. If they stay at 7, I got to endure another season where they get their shit kicked in by Boston, so not looking forward to that. But you're right. They have an incredibly tough stretch coming up where we're going to learn. We're going to learn a little bit about this team right now. Was this a mirage, this 7-game win streak? We're going to learn.
Who are they not going to get the shit kicked out of by?
They would have a good series, I think, with Cleveland, despite what happened last year.
Really? You think so?
Wow, last year they literally were on the receiving end of the most
I think
lopsided
the Heat are better.
first-round matchup ever.
I think the Heat are better, and I don't think Cleveland's as good.
Well, let me just.
Cleveland was number 1 last year.
Okay, Cleveland was number 1 last year and won the final playoff game by 60 points. It was empirically, it was the worst ass kicking there's ever been in a playoff series. They've added James Harden, and you think the gulf has been closed?
Yeah, I think the Heat are better than they were last year.
He's missing Cavs are missing Ty Jerome, and so the Cavs have gotten worse. How have the Cavs gotten worse?
Well, they were number 1 last year. They haven't been close to that team at any point this season.
Don't you think the East has also gotten better?
I mean, maybe.
Okay. All right, look, you're entitled to your opinion, but
I think they could have a little bit of fun with New York too.
Yeah,
I'm not saying they'd beat either.
I
of
do
these
think
teams.
the Knicks series could be fun.
Yeah.
In that, like you'll get 2 and
right? Can
no
they grab
panic.
2 games off them? Yeah, I think so.
Games like Saturday are exactly why I'm exhausted by like the whole Heat discourse, because like it's an NBA regular season. It's the Miami Heat. They care. They'll go through these stretches where they'll beat a Houston, and you'll be like, man, when we play our best game, we can beat anybody. That's typically basketball, but you met basically what is your ceiling on Saturday, losing to a team like the Orlando Magic. We move on.
I think you're overreacting. Losing the season series 5-0, losing at home on a random Saturday night as we are in the middle of
You think I'm
March.
overreacting? I'm just like that to me is what this season is, and I'm writing it out to the off season where hopefully we can get a whale, and everything else, every other conversation that we've had on this is basically performative. I'm just so over it. That's where we are.
Well, if it's performative, I'm just helping Zaz here because I believe that he is hoping for...
Minor penalty, 2 minutes for explaining the show.
Okay.
Wow.
I guess. Tell him the truth.
Wait, how is that explaining the show?
He's saying all his other conversations are performative. They're
No, I
not
was
honest
accusing others.
conversations.
Okay, I'll go.
So I want to just help Zaz get through days like this because when you lose 0-5 to a team, let's say they play the Magic in the playoffs, that will be very much a media story what the season series is, they'll often go like, in the last 10 years, they've lost to that team in the playoffs 4 times. It doesn't mean anything to the players.
Now, they've got a matchup problem with Orlando.
Well,
I don't
because Orlando's good.
All the games have been single-digit losses.
No, but it's not just Orlando's good. If you've been watching Toronto and New York play, if those teams face each other in the playoffs, Toronto has 0 chance to beat the Knicks. They cannot do it. There will be no circumstance under which they beat the Knicks. And similarly, the Magic have the Heat that way. Their length and the bad Wagner is somebody who still dominates them down low. It's a matchup problem. They don't want this team. The Heat have a better record against the Thunder and Pistons this year than the Magic do. The Magic haven't been very good. They added Desmond Bane, and they still can't shoot threes. They're supposed to be able to shoot threes. They can't shoot threes. The thing that undid them last year is that they can't shoot threes. But, Trista, you can speak to this. The Magic were supposed to be this year, and the Heat have regressed to a point where they are behind the Magic in the standings and in other ways.
Yeah, I think that this Magic team is flawed offensively, and we've seen this. Like you said, last year the three-point problem was plaguing them. But remember, 2 years ago in the playoffs when we were getting 89, 91 games between the Magic and the Cavs in the first round.
That was a great win.
That was a great series, right? We loved that, like old school hoops, vintage. No, I think that this Magic team, no matter who you get Desmond Bane, bad three-point shooting team. You get Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, all of a sudden he sucks, and the three-point shooting has continued to be a problem. I just think Paolo and Franz are not able to play together. Paolo is not really one of those players that I think is a true point forward. He can't shoot. He can't create his own shot. So until they break those two up, I think the Magic are going to be a problem as a contender. But, yeah, I think they're physical. They're bruisers. They're defensively going to get up in you, and I think that's obviously a problem for the Heat.
I'm going to open myself up to you again.
Uh-oh.
It's going to be me. I think when you give a score, it's always the higher number first. And I've had people in my life who have dropped the final score of the game was 4-6. No, that's not the final score.
That does make me nuts.
It's 6-4.
I'm with you on that. But I think she did that because she forgot what the other score was. I think she said 89 first, not because she says the lower score first. I feel like maybe she thought that maybe that was the higher score.
But you've heard people do that.
You know, I was like 89, 87. I don't think that's what it was.
That's what I thought happened. Yeah, so I give her a pass on that one.
Thanks. I want to give you a pass, and you've got the pass.
It's a good call out, though,
Thank
in
you.
general.
It
I
is.
agree with David on that.
I agree with that.
In general, I agree very much with that.
I think you should be taught that. It's in the handbook of parenting because even
I'm getting to it, David. There's a lot to cover.
There's a lot to cover, but you got plenty of time, hopefully.
Put it on the poll. Should it be in the handbook of parenting that when you give a score, the higher score comes first at Le Batard Show?
The answer to that is definite. What is that a detail of the parenting handbook is that the team on the bottom of the graphic is the home team or the team on the right.
Not in European soccer.
No, European
metric
soccer
system.
will
No, but this is the United States.
Lord, I don't think you can Lord's time zone the global game.
Before we move on,
the United States is such a Zaz and David perspective.
You don't teach your kid how to know what team's at home?
The two of them.
And then I say, but it's different in soccer. That's always like the footnote to it.
Okay, I never have said that, but I guess
no, but that is because
world's
you
biggest
and
game.
Zaslow are myopically United States. The idea that soccer or Europe would do it differently, you reject that as a premise. You reject the idea that it can be done any differently by anyone than it is by the best, by Americans.
I used to know by uniform color. It used to be you're in the whites, you're at home.
Yep.
Now, in football, you're in the darks, you're at home.
Language, man.
And all of a sudden, you don't know what the hell is going on.
Yep.
And you can't tell from the court
Yep.
for sure as hell.
How
It
is
used to
white
be
not always home?
Except
White
in
should
football.
always be home.
American football.
Colors are on the road.
Always.
White's at home.
before we move too far away from the Orlando Magic, can we relive Dan's expectations for them?
Orlando was expected to be a top 3 East in the team.
I mean, he had Bane as the third best player. All right, Wagner's been out too long. Bane is the second best player. That changes the data points.
Well, based on what Trista's saying, she's just saying that Wagner and Banchero can't play together, that they just simply can't be together.
Is it because they're just always hurt and never on the floor together?
No, that's not what she meant.
No, that's not what I meant at all. I think you were in the penalty box, so your brain got scrambled. But I don't think those two play styles match with one another because they're wings that want to be guards, and they're not very good facsimile of guards. And when you have them both on the floor at the same time, they're actually probably better as a team when only one of them is playing, which is kind of what happened last year when you had all of those injuries rack up and they still stacked up wins.
That one makes me crazy because there are teams in the league where adding the better player doesn't make you better. And Norm Powell and Tyler Hero have the same skill set. They're the same statistically. So you can play them instead of each other, but you can't play them together.
But Mike said it best. The press box has changed. I mean, seriously, get over yourself. We're going to talk during the post game. Tim Reynolds, enough. I mean, enough.
I mean,
seriously.
you just got to know when
You're
the
not allowed to cheer in the press box. Did you know that?
Well, I did.
They were cheering for Will Manso. I think that's allowed.
And Goldie.
If the Dan Le Batard Show comes to a hockey press box, hilarity is going to ensue.
Yeah.
They're going to yell at Will Manso for 7 minutes, and you're probably going to have to go to a stairwell to write, man. Like, it's just...
if it was 7 minutes, I'd get it.
It
was
is what
7
it is.
seconds.
Exactly. I mean, David, everyone else was saying hi. They were enjoying the show. They were laughing at us. But one guy is still clutching on to his newspaper deadline.
I'm a little
and it's
disappointed.
Tim Reynolds.
And is he your demographics, too?
I don't know.
I happen to like Tim a lot, and
Enough of him.
I imagine this was going to be like E.J. Raddick or something, but that's just a bad look for Tim Reynolds.
Listen, I went up to him afterwards.
This was the best part. Stugotz is like, I've known Tim for years. I'm going to go fix this. He walked to Tim and walked right back very quickly.
Yep.
It was a very quick interaction.
Well, he was writing. Okay?
He's on deadline. It's
enough of the deadline.
It's a
We're on deadline, too. I gotta get home. I feel like playoff hockey. I got to get home. I mean,
yeah, we're on deadline, too. We got to get that post game out.
It is a working press box. Tim Reynolds is a journalist who's trying to write, and Stugotz is back there. Hey, Will Manso!
That's Chris and Goldie. Don't leave out Goldie.
We're on deadline, too. They're going to kick us out of that press box a lot sooner than they'll kick out Tim Reynolds, who's just typing away. That's just...
Those writers had their game stories done before the end of the
Precisely.
Yeah, a good writer, right.
Oh,
what happened there? I apologize to him. I've known Tim for decades. I mean, Cote was done. He was out of there. I mean, you know.
What was that interaction like, Stugotz? Take us behind the scenes. You walk up to him, you say what, he says what?
I said, Tim, I apologize. That's on me. I should know better. Not Chris, okay? I should know better. I've been in press boxes before. I know you have a deadline. I apologize. And he said, that's fine. Just, try to keep it down.
That is way too long.
That was much longer than the actual conversation.
I always extend it a little bit. I mean, you guys know that.
Can we call Tim Reynolds and just ask him about what the interaction was like?
No.
and Cody's Back in My Day. Seeds.
This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Nice.
The World Baseball Classic last night ended in controversy. The United States advances. They beat a Dominican Republic team that hadn't trailed in the tournament, was clubbing everybody, and is one of the best lineups ever assembled. The last pitch was not a strike. If they were still using replay, they would have overturned that as a strike. And after the game, Soto's just saying, well, everyone knows we're the better team after they have lost. And there were a few things from that game that I want to cover with you guys. First of all, I was listening on the ride home from our Oscar and Selection Sunday watch party on the radio. And it was the television broadcast on the radio. And I hear Aaron Judge hit a ball making the sound that Aaron Judge's bat is made. I'm not watching, I hear the crowd make the noise that suggests to me that everyone thinks it's a home run. And the announcer does this, which was perfect. He says, did he get enough of it? He did not. Because the ball is robbed at the fence by J-Rod, and then he recovers so well by saying, and Spider-Man robs Superman. But he was stuck in the air right before that. And Aaron Judge, whenever he hits a ball, I always think anytime the ball is in the air off that guy's bat, even if it's an infield pop-up, that it's going out of the stadium because he's got these superhuman dimensions that would make him one of the best baseball players ever if Shohei Ohtani did not exist, to make his time now pale compared to Shohei's. But the game ends in controversy. Samson, what did you cover on Nothing Personal as it related to the specifics of that last pitch was simply not a strike?
I was trying to explain to people like Tony, who is sulking, obviously, that that's not why the DR lost. You have to understand that when you're playing the USA in the semifinals, you best be swinging. You cannot be caught looking because MLB would like the USA to advance.
It is why they lost. They had a runner on third. They would have had a runner on first and third. It would have been a walk. It should have been a walk. It was not a strike. It was a ball to end the game.
You have to be swinging. You cannot let the umpires decide the game. When Austin Wells is stopped at third base, you've got to have pinch run for him with O'Neal Cruz, and then he scores on that, and it's outrageous. It was mismanaged. Hey, Albert's new. I'll give him that. But the DR lost because of managing, not because of an ABS call.
So I didn't see the very end of the game. I'm old and I'm tired. And I woke up in the morning and I saw the controversy. I heard the controversy. I'm like, okay, this pitch must have been not anywhere close. And then I saw the video, and I gotta be perfectly honest with you, it's not even close to as egregious as I thought based on the conversation that I saw online about it not being a strike. And on top of it, it's 2 out, 2 strikes, bottom of the ninth, 1-run game. You better be swinging at that pitch.
Guys, it wasn't a strike. You guys can keep doing this.
That's not how baseball's played.
Okay, I understand. But
anything close, Dan.
But no. Not with instant replay anymore. You guys are using
There's
100.
no ABS.
No, but you guys are using 100-year-old rules. These guys play usually under, I know the strike zone, and I can get it right, and they will fix it with instant replay. It simply was not a strike. And you guys are real casual about making it this absolute, David. This isn't the reason the loss. This is the reason for the loss. And no, the game would have continued if that was called correctly. It was not called correctly.
But the hitter's instinct on 2 strikes protect the plate.
Guys, this is the hardest thrower in the history of throwing baseballs, okay?
Isn't that more of an argument I better just swing if it's close?
It's easy for you guys to sit here and say how easy it is to swing at that pitch if it's close.
I think it's easy.
This man throws very hard, and he threw a breaking ball 3-2. Like, yeah, I'd say he throws 105. You got to sit fastball. It's 105. He throws a breaking ball. It's out of the strike zone. He shows the plate discipline of not swinging at it, and you punish him for it by all of you saying you got to swing in that spot as if he's Carlos Beltran at the end of the Mets series before instant replay.
If this was reversed and it was the other way around, the isolationist,
pitchforks,
America First, Samson and Zaslow would be freaking the fuck out right now.
She is so right on this, and I like the idea of literal pitchforks. Forks about that pitch, just not a pitchfork, but just tiny little sporks that you just come out on the field with and start stabbing the umpire because it was a terrible call.
I don't want to be associated with like that because that's not at all. I'm extraordinarily fair
I'm fine with it.
in my anger and frustration as it relates to umps and calls and dealing with
the
it.
guy who doesn't know that Europe and soccer exists and that there's a different way of keeping score
Liverpool.
elsewhere.
Have you been to Anfield?
You didn't just do that to me.
Have you? Have you been to Anfield?
He just gave me his resume on
You have Liverpool season tickets?
Being to Liverpool
6 weeks?
is what it is that he just did to me.
Cavern Club? I'm not justifying my sports cred by telling you
it's not. It's
that
your
you
bias.
teach
She's
people-
so right about what she's saying. America would be making the opposite argument of this if this had happened to the American.
That's right.
baseball
Welcome
team.
to sports.
No, but Dan, honestly, I really think though, if I saw if it's close, you have to swing. There's no replay in this tournament.
You meet with your players before a game to talk to them about the circumstances of the game. The DR players knew that when you're up against the league wanting USA to advance, you've got to change your approach.
Where was that umpire from?
Do you hear what he said? You meet with your players before the game to talk about the circumstances of the game. The Americans were dealing with a manager who didn't know what the stakes were earlier in this series.
That's true, David.
You meet with your players and you tell them, hey, look, just in case, the guy who throws 105, if he goes 3-2 breaking ball on you, you got to swing at the end of the game, even if it's out of the strike zone.
You're so wrong. The players for U.S. knew that they had to beat Mexico to advance. They knew about the Game 3 and Game 4. So stop with that. Mark DeRosa, and I'm not going to defend Mark DeRosa at all.
Sounds like you're starting.
No, what he did is a fireable offense by meeting with the media the way he did and being so wrong about what he did that in a regular season I'd think about canning him. But the players, they know exactly what's going on in a particular game. They just do. So
I can't let a couple of inches determine whether or not I'm going to swing in that spot in such a huge moment with 2 strikes in the game on the line. I'm telling you, I thought I was going to wake up and I was going to watch the replay. I thought I was going to see Eric Gregg back behind home plate. I really did.
All right,
and it was not that egregious.
We'll get to that in a second. I want to teach the kids about Eric Gregg and the Levon Hernandez-Greg Maddux game. But here is Mero, our friend, the kid Mero. He is doing a live stream, watching the game with his friends. This is the reason that people do these live streams, so that you can have the frustration at the end of the game. Here is a last pitch that is clearly not a strike. Let's see how the kid Mero and his friends reacted.
No! What? No!
That's a fucking awful call. That is a fucking terrible goddamn call. You cannot call that. You can't miss that.
The sad bongo. The sad stray bongos.
Cannot make that call. Cannot. That's a great take.
I thought he was complimenting his take that you can't make that call, but no, he meant not swinging. It was a great take.
How phony is that guy in the back row saying it's a great take? He's cheering for the U.S. He was excited, and because he and the other guy back there were wearing PR hats. He was cheering for the U.S. He was excited about the end, and then to make sure you're getting the guy's good graces who are cheering for DR in front, you got to let everybody know that's a terrible call. I saw you playing both sides.
I noticed that same thing, Zaz.
What a
And
phony.
I was like, is he cheering as well? He's lamenting on audio and cheering in his history.
I'm glad with the result, but now let me make my friends know that I'm really on their side too.
I want to see the whole thing again, and I want you guys to hear the incredibly sad. It's the saddest I've ever heard a bongo be. It's just one stray bongo sound in the middle of them and their despondence.
That's a fucking awful call. That is a fucking terrible goddamn call. You cannot call that. You can't miss that. Cannot make that call. Cannot. That's a great take.
I hope the kid watched that back and realizes who his real friends are.
I'm fond of that guy afterwards. That's a baseball fan there. He knew he had his rooting interest.
Look, guys, a dude found a way to make a bongo sound sad. That is impressive.
Forgive me because I'm going to play this a third time. The reason I'm going to do this a third time, though, is I want you to see if you can freeze it on the secret handshake between the two guys in the back, because it wasn't just that he was happy about it. It's that the two of them were happy about it, and they gave a secret in the middle of all of their friends' misery. They tried to hide a secret handshake because they were happy.
Ooh, no!
There it was. You saw it. Yup. You saw it. They tried to hide it behind that guy. Karl Anthony Towns is also Dominican. He is famously Dominican. They love him in Washington Heights as a Knicks player, and he also had a reaction while he is festooned in the Dominican colors, and he's not happy about the call either.
The ball? The ball? Was it a ball that last we watched in the highlight?
Hell yeah, that was a ball, man. Some bull. You all should have had a chance. We have Fernando Tatis Jr. coming up, bro. Come on, man. That was a ball as hell.
That was a strike.
No, hell no. You say that as an American.
That was ball as hell.
So that's what it comes down to, though, that the ump is from Denver?
I did just look it up, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, he's from Denver?
Yeah.
So that means that, by definition, a U.S. umpire is going to purposely call a ball a ball.
Now, if I'm hitting in that situation, that's more of the argument for you got to swing at anything close there. We got Denver, Colorado behind the plate.
You know the umpires. You know the situation. You don't stop Wells at third. First of all, you pinch run for him.
Also, they made a third out at third.
Tatis.
There were some base running mishaps.
It takes a great throw. I love making them make a play. But
Judge,
what do we
though,
say?
makes that
Pitching
play.
and defense wins. And the U.S. bullpen shut them down for 5+ innings.
Can I just stop you guys for a second, though, on what I'm about to say? Because I feel like from our couches, behind the microphones, we underestimate a handful of things. There is a pitcher throwing a ball, fastballs, harder than anyone has ever thrown a baseball. Up until the last, I'm going to say, 8 years, maybe 9, that pitcher on a 3-2 count, there is no circumstance under which he's throwing a breaking ball. I'm going to say that's something that's happened maybe the last 7 years. Somebody who throws 104 miles an hour with Tatis on deck does not throw a breaking ball on a 3-2 pitch. You guys sitting here saying, you got to swing the bat when a human being is throwing a baseball harder than anyone ever does, and you have to sit fastball on that pitcher. If you do not, you're going to watch. What you're going to have happen is he's going to throw it right down. If you're sitting breaking ball there saying you just got to swing at everything, he's going to swing a month late if he's sitting on breaking ball because you can't expect a breaking ball there. Do you guys realize how much easier it is to be the critic in this spot to be the guy than to be the guy who actually swings the bat at a pitch that wasn't close? He said afterward, I knew it was a ball. It is a ball. It's a ball forever. It's a ball. I know it's a ball. That wasn't a strike.
I just think you're almost making our point. Like, the better the pitcher, the better stuff from a pitcher, the more I'm just protecting the plate. This guy's so unhittable.
That's how
anything
I feel.
close, I got to swing.
Yep.
So it's just like to be able to be like, oh, that was an inch low. That's a tough spot to take there.
And you don't get to say good eye.
And in the hundreds of years that we've been playing baseball, you know that's a fastball in that situation. He knew that was going to be a fastball in that situation. He saw it go off the plate.
It wasn't a fastball. It was a curved ball. He was sitting for like if he you've got to sit fastball there. The guy throws 105 miles an hour.
Right.
You have to sit fastball. What do you mean right?
Right. We knew it was going to be a fastball. He just sat on the curveball.
Minor penalty, 2 minutes, dumpster juice take.
Wow.
I don't think you've ever played that before.
I want to show all of you, for those of you who have not seen it, I want to relive the Levon Hernandez-Greg Maddux game.
God.
The late Eric Gregg. Early in this game, Eric Gregg was calling strikes that were in the opposite batter's box. Levon Hernandez struck out 15 batters in this game, at least in part because the strike zone was the most ridiculous thing that there has ever been
beautiful
in the history of playoff baseball. So we are going to just show you all 15 strikeouts here.
That ball was in the other batter's box.
Yeah, well, they all are, except for a couple.
There's a couple, but I love the last one. The last one where Fred McGriff, it's a backdoor curveball. The ball is 2 feet outside, never even close. Fred McGriff just look, here it is.
Oh my God. It's incredible. I'm telling you, if you out there, you're a Miami fan, you're a Miami sports fan, whatever, and you're like, oh yeah, of course, I remember Levon Hernandez,
Yeah.
I remember the Eric Gregg game. If you have not watched it recently, it's even worse than you remember it being. The calls are so egregious. That's what I thought I was waking up to this morning, Dan.
This is the only baseball game I have ever seen, right? Ever. Because players are fairly consistent when they say, I don't mind an umpire who is calling a very lenient strike zone. I just want to know that he's going to consistently do that over the course of a game. Eric Gregg gave the same strike zone to Levon Hernandez that he did to Greg Maddux, but resourceful Levon Hernandez, who came from Cuba, realized in the first inning, wait a minute, he's going to give me a strike in the opposite batter's box every time, and he just started throwing all of his pitches in the opposite batter's box. And Eric Gregg, you would say this is the worst umpired game that you've ever seen, correct, David? Like that there's never been
it was
a
the
worse
World
one.
Series.
No, it wasn't the World Series. It was against the Atlanta Braves, but it was in the playoffs
sorry.
to get to the World Series.
I mean, I've watched CB Buckner and Angel Hernandez, and we've seen some bad ones, but the consistency is a funny point because, yes, it doesn't matter where the strike zone is if it's consistent, but now with ABS, there literally will be a consistent strike zone. But Eric Gregg is not thought of as a terrible umpire the way CB is.
He just had a bad day?
It was just
No,
one of
but
those days.
Eric Gregg is forever associated. His name is forever associated with that poorly umpired game.
I'm saying not within baseball, that's all.
Okay, Angel Hernandez was worse as an umpire, career, lifetime body of work. Angel Hernandez,
matters.
Well, it does matter in that Angel Hernandez is forever known as a bad umpire, but I've never seen a worse umpire than the one in this game.
A worse moment.
Don't
be judged by your worst moment,
It wasn't
Dan.
a moment.
That was a moment.
It was
That's a
9
game.
innings.
That's a moment.
It was 9
No.
innings of moments. It was
Wrong.
15 strikeouts. Those are 15 moments at the very least.
To your point, though, from last night's game, that A-Rod said after the game that is that guy's hot zone. And that umpire, he calls that down pitch a lot. So that is information that they would have.
He did it all game.
That's more for the argument of you got to swing.
By the way, he did it all game.
Yeah, I wonder, are there other moments in the game where he called that a strike?
Yes. But Dan, that doesn't go for Dan because that doesn't help his narrative about Mason Miller throwing 108.
I mean,
which he doesn't.
You guys just do this thing though, where you make it sound very easy to do the thing that you're saying as if you don't understand what you're watching. Like, it's a hard thing to be in that situation against that pitcher who has struck out 19 of the last 20 guys he's faced.
Hitting's hard.
All of whom were swinging hard on the last pitch, trying to protect the strike zone.
I know David and Zaz act like they could just do it, right? Like they.
No.
No, that's not true.
We're just saying swing.
That's not true.
Wrong.
I think it's really close. You have less than a split second to decide how close it is, if it's a ball or a strike. And in that spot, 2 out, 2 strike, bottom 9, 1-run game, in that split second, I got to swing if it's close. And he chose not to. And he got burned. I mean, the umpire was wrong, but he got burned. I don't want to get burned. Swing.
Me neither.
What other takes, David, did you have regarding the World Baseball Classic as the United States ends up advancing and beating the team that has looked the best in this tournament? But the United States was favored last night, at least in part, because Skeens was starting for them.
Skeens gave, as we talked about, he did did you notice, Zaz? 71 pitches and done. You're allowed to go 90, but the Pirates said no thank you.
So it's only the U.S. team that has those types of...
Every starter that has a Major League contract, the Major League team dictates to the World Baseball Classic team the amount of pitches.
Can you walk me through some of this, though? Because if I were a major league team, the United States didn't used to have these kinds of stars playing in this game. And I don't know that I'd want my stars playing in this game, even if it's good for the sport, because I wouldn't want anybody getting hurt. Anybody as valuable as Skeens, who is almost single-handedly responsible for the Pirates' improved playoff chances, I would not want that person getting hurt off of my employment watch.
Yeah, there was a nice agreement with Bob Nutting, excuse me. He gets a lot of...
That's his real name, Bob Nutting?
Bob Nutting is the owner of
Good
the
for
Pirates.
him.
I don't know why I said Bill, but it's Bob.
Well, but that's not the part of the name I was noticing.
The nutting part.
You never heard the word nutting?
Yes.
Right. So, yes. So they don't want their players
Odd
playing.
question.
But when you have revenue sharing, we've done these negotiations. That's why I can talk about it. Where they'll say to you, hey, we want Stanton, or we want Yelich, or we want whatever. The answer is, well, if you don't give them, let's talk about your revenue sharing. Let's talk about some grievances that are against you. Let's talk about other points of pressure that can be applied to teams like the Pirates, and then you see Skeens on the team. That's number one. And then you can hide it with the Air Force stuff and hide it with I Love America stuff. But the negotiation was with Nutting.
They milked a whole lot out of
boy,
Skeens. Three of his uncles were in the armed services.
It's a whole lot of something.
They made him a 6'6" fighter pilot. I expected him to take the mound just to land on the mound in a military chopper and a Black Hawk.
You're making me, I don't want to be not patriotic, but give me a break, would you? We're playing harder because of my relationship with the Air Force. No. But the pitch count consideration, that's pre-negotiated.
Is it exactly what he would have pitched in spring training anyway?
He actually would be more, because you're about 10 days away from his first start, which will be March 26th. And so he pitched on March 15th. So he's got one more start, and then he starts opening day. So this was his day to pitch, which is why it was predetermined that he'd pitch the semifinals. All of it was pre-done, including the number of pitches. The negotiation is, can we let him go 80? Can we let him go 90? And the Pirates say, no, 70. They pulled him at 71, so one extra pitch. But they had a bullpen that was ready to go, and the bullpen shut him down.
Your thoughts on Juan Soto saying after the game, yeah, everyone knows we're the better team?
Who cares?
Silly. I mean, this is why we play. I don't want to sound like a like a dope. This is why we play the games, but it's literally why they play. Sometimes the team that's not better wins.
Yeah, but he's saying that was decided by the umpire at the end on a call that wasn't correct, and so the game shouldn't have ended on
Well, but then he's assuming that if it was called correct, they were still going to win the game because they're the better team, and that's just wrong.
It's not wrong. It's unknown.
Yes.
No, it is wrong. There's actually no way to say it. We judge it on rings. We judge it on gold medals. When it doesn't matter who's hurt. Didn't the Heat win a title and there was somebody who didn't play? I'm totally blanking. I know the Knicks lost a title when Ewing didn't play.
Cavs won. Or no, Warriors won because Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love were both out.
Okay, and the Warriors, that's part of their dynasty. No one talks. It doesn't much matter. I don't really care when people are injured and you win because of that.
The Raptors won because Durant and Klay Thompson were hurt, but I still don't know what you were doing with the Heat.
Maybe you're thinking about 97 with the brawl and Ewing and Oakley and Starks were all
there for.
Because that Knicks team was better, and guess what? The Heat won. They came back 3-1.
And guess what? We lost.
Yeah.
So that's
right.
it.
Right.
Minor penalty, 2 minutes, delay a show.
You should wear it. I don't know what it is that you were doing, and then we just got stuck in the quicksand because you offered nothing. In fact.
Minor penalty, 2 minutes for adding nothing.
A double minor?
Yeah, double minor. 4 minutes for Samson so he can walk out of here with his flip-flops and his cargo shorts and his ridiculous long-sleeve shirt. And then he could say to Trista that she looks like she's dressed inappropriately. You should be ashamed of yourself.
I tried to clean it up, and it got worse, honestly.
I know you tried to help him, and we kept sinking deeper and deeper. What game in the last 30 years are you thinking of when an important player was out? And then we just started guessing. Let's get to the top 5 games to watch in this tournament from Trista, because we have not talked enough about the actual tournament that begins really on Thursday. I know we've got playing games before that because you've got to get your gambling in. But on Thursday, we really don't need this many teams. There are not enough good teams to be in this tournament. And this tournament's top heavy. Like, maybe we'll get some upsets, but it seems to me like the 1 seeds are a good deal better than everyone else, even though Michigan lost to Purdue, even though Florida lost to Vanderbilt. What I've watched from Arizona and Michigan and Florida and specifically Duke all season suggests to me that they're a good deal better than everyone else, even if you like your Iowa States and your Texas Techs. But this tournament is fun because there's a lot of randomness. Do you have any OLI here, Trista, or do you just have a top 5?
I just learned what OLI is, so no OLI for me. This is just in the first round, so not in the full tournament. First game to watch in the first round of the tournament, UConn versus Furman. I mean, this is just a very spicy matchup. Dan Hurley feels like this is not a championship quality team this year. I don't know if that's mind games or whether they're going to get exploited by Furman. Listen, like... Oh, yeah, like that drop. I mean, this is a Furman team that was injured all year. Now they're finally healthy. They're monsters. They have 2 6'11" players to watch. I think they could bully UConn. This is upset alert for me.
Whoa, she's putting the town on alert. Look at that. Number 4.
Number 4, Wisconsin versus High Point. Ooh, I really like High Point. They're 30-4. Nobody knows who they are. They force turnovers better than anyone in the country right now, or almost. Wisconsin's biggest defensive weakness is defending the exact style that High Point plays. I think that this is not just a mid-major team hoping for a miracle. I think Wisconsin's very trendy, maybe even more trendy than High Point, and I think those teams fuck around and find out.
We have this in our own tournament, and we can give people the update on this. It's the West region. It's the Thursday game. It's 1:50 p.m. Number 5, Wisconsin, is represented by...
Jonathan Zaslow looks like your big toe after hitting the corner of the bed.
That's so good.
We don't want to lose that. That's why it's seated so high. But High Point makes a lot of threes. They've got a fun offense. Number 12, High Point, is represented by...
Scott Van Pelt looks like Adam Silver on steroids.
Now, I don't know if it's steroids, but it's like a human growth hormone, a healing cream of some sort. Not for muscles, for illness.
Cryogenic chamber.
Just cortisone.
Or hydrocortisone.
Number 3.
Number 3, TCU versus Ohio State. Man, you got to watch this one. I think this is one of the more spicy matchups in the first round. I think TCU has some of the best wins so far this year. And I think they beat Iowa State. They beat Texas Tech down the stretch. Defense is top 25 in the country. If they get past Ohio State, they then draw an injured Duke team that's missing 2 important players. This game itself is a coin flip. The reason that you watch is because of the chaos it sets up if TCU wins.
This is the East region, and in our Looks Like tournament, this is the 12:15 p.m. Thursday game. The 8-seed Ohio State is represented by...
Mina Kimes looks like the therapist who starts to listen to your story, gets caught up in a daydream, then simply says, "And how does that make you feel?" while having no idea what you actually said.
This one's really good, though. I want TCU to go deep in the tournament.
I love this one, too.
Because I thought this should have been seated higher.
Draymond Green looks like he has to sneeze.
Always. Always. Because his mouth's always open. Like whether he's on his podcast.
I don't know why that one hit me. I just like that
no,
one.
He always looks like he's about to sneeze. He's not in a rest state. He's in a state where moments from now, he's not going to be able to keep that sneeze down. And how about your number 1 game to watch here, Trista?
Let's do number 2 first.
I think we have to get to 2 first.
Oh, I skipped over that.
Yeah, Vanderbilt versus McNeese. Listen, Vanderbilt just beat Florida by 17, Zaz. They may be one of the hottest teams in the country right now. This sets up another matchup between these 2 teams. Florida, they need to watch out.
Do we want to do this? I don't want to use too much of our tournament yet, so let's go to the next one here.
And then finally, number 1. For the folks in Miami, it is Miami versus Missouri in Missouri.
Unfair game. You can't put that game in Missouri. You can't punish the higher seed.
No, you can't. And I think, obviously, Miami is the much more talented team on paper. but they're playing in Missouri's backyard. That always matters in the tournament setting. Their coach hasn't been in the tournament as a head coach before. Virginia just gave the blueprint to everyone. Make this Miami team make threes, and let's see what happens. So I'm really, really excited about this game to watch as well.
We've got breaking news here in the NBA. The NBA is holding a vote, Board of Governors, March 24th and 25th, to explore adding expansion teams in Vegas and Seattle. I assume that's done, right? When they say exploring and they say meeting to talk about, I'm assuming and we're assuming teams will be in Las Vegas and Seattle in short order, correct? Because there's more money for the owners in expanding. And so, of course, they're going to do that, even though they've already got 10 teams in the league that are actively trying to lose.
That's the first thing that comes to my mind. I mean, the regular season kind of stinks in the NBA, and now we're going to add more teams. It's, I don't know. Yeah, it's obvious that it's going to be Vegas and Seattle, but it's not very exciting to me.
It would probably reshape the way that the conferences are organized. Shams has alluded to the Grizzlies and Timberwolves moving to the Eastern Conference because you are adding...
Well, Grizzlies or Timberwolves.
Well, you are adding 2 teams on the West Coast in Las Vegas and Seattle. There is going to need to be some reshaping. Hopefully, down the line when Europe gets into the equation, they just do away with conferences entirely because they're really dumb, especially in that sport.
Is Europe going to get into the conversation? I don't know that these European teams are going to allow that really to happen.
I mean, they have had deep conversations with existing clubs over in Europe and a couple of new franchises that pop up there. I think that that's the next piece. It's probably a couple years away, David, but I think 5 core teams in Europe sounds good with potentially, hopefully they get the right idea, do away with conferences. Every team in the league just plays twice. You're around 40 teams, and then you take the top 16.
Well, first things first, the reason why you call it exploring relocation is that you don't have ownership groups yet. Don't forget there's a fight going on behind the scenes who's going to get the Vegas team. It's not a done deal at all. I know LeBron wants.
Well, Rich Paul said he and LeBron have never, ever talked about owning a team. So
I'm sure it's never.
That's what he said. That's what Rich Paul said.
It would never occur to LeBron at age 40 to think about what's next.
All right.
That's not how he rolls. So figuring out who's going to own the team, because Shaq had an interest as well.
Money Mayweather told me he was getting it.
Who did?
Money Mayweather.
That's 3 different parties. He'd be part of. He'd never get approved by himself. He could join some sort of group.
You don't think an ownership group would just say, "Sure, Floyd, come on in, just by yourself. We trust that you won't gamble away all your money."
Well, it's not Bruno, but I would say that exploring then ownership group, we haven't seen yet exactly the Seattle plan, and I remind cities, hear me out. You're paying more to get your team back than you would have to have kept your team from moving to OKC. You made a mistake.
Yeah, but times have changed. I mean, it was 20 years ago. A little less than 20.
That's not very long at all. Marlins Park.
You're speaking to the city of Seattle as if they're listening right now. They don't know something, and they're listening to you right now. You want Seattle to know that they could have kept their team before by just. What are you trying?
No, I'm talking about the future cities where you are being threatened to give money or your team will move. Listen to those threats, because your team will move, and then you'll be screwed and trying to get it back. It always costs more to get a new customer than to keep your old customer.
Well, and that's why, I don't know if you guys saw this, but Adam Silver was in Portland just a couple of days ago announcing that the city, in a bipartisan way, has essentially going to be paying for this Moda Center renovation that keeps Portland having the Blazers, which was kind of like a piece of uncertainty up until just a couple of days ago.
You were part of Nothing Personal today.
Oh, really?
Because I found out you're from Portland, which I didn't know, and I discussed that very topic this morning, because what Adam Silver was doing was making sure that everyone understood that there was public money going into the renovation, and you're going to feel good about it. He said to the staffers in Portland and the politicians and the people, you're going to get other events, all the things that you've been missing, all the L's of Portland will disappear by giving money. And so what made me smile about Adam Silver is he had a schlep to Portland to do this, and my guess is while he's there, what do you do when you go to Portland? You do a quick little
strip club.
Well, I don't know that Silver did that. My guess is he did a quick stop in Seattle.
You swing by Nike if you're in Portland. You have to do
And
that.
Casa Diablo.
He gets Nike for free. He
No,
doesn't need to
I don't
swing
know.
by Nike.
I mean, they're an important league partner, and they're an important epicenter to business in Portland in general. Speaking of business, the WNBA has another extended deadline today. You're the only one that I have heard say very strongly in the sports media that you believe that the WNBA might disappear, period. Not just for a while, but period. Where are you right now on where those negotiations are?
There have been a bunch of deadlines, and there was one on March 10th. They blew through it. Now it's March 16th, and they're saying today's the new deadline. Kathy Engelbert, today's the day. So we're going to find out. Maybe today's the day. But if the women believe they're going to get up to their number of revenue sharing to 30, they're down at 26. Will it be 15 or 18? The relevant part of this is not housing. The relevant part is what will the league look like going forward? And yes, there was a possibility where the owners would say, you guys are way too greedy, but they came off their initial positions and they'll get a deal done.
It cannot be 15 or 18. It has to be over in the low 20s at least, and it can't be this net revenue number that the league keeps saying. Like, you're playing these word games. Revenue is gross by nature. Net revenue changes the entire meaning of the word.
UFC is the worst at this, and they do 17%. The WNBA players cannot, with this kind of leverage, take less than UFC labor is taking.
What is their leverage?
That they're incredibly
Unrivaled.
popular right now, and they don't have to be what the UFC is in terms of paying its employees worse than anybody in sports pays its employees.
Then go fight somewhere else. That's what Dana would say, and he's not wrong. Go fight somewhere else. And these women, go play somewhere else. I say it to the baseball players, too. This is not about men versus women. If you can play in Korea or Tokyo and make as much money as you're making here, then go do it. But you can't, which is why we're going to win on the margins during every CBA negotiation, and we're going to make sure that we hold out long enough to get what we want.
Spoken like the man.
No, but that's just the reality. I don't want to be that, Trista. I don't want to be that to you.
That was
You
the
don't
we.
want to-
That was the we that he was referring.
Whenever you say we, you sound like management. You said we as management.
I meant they.
Anytime.
You should have said they, and
Pronouns, David. Pronouns.
Terrible at pronouns.
Not
Me
surprising.
too.
You also had Adam Silver going to a small Nike store in Portland.
He had
not
like
headquarters, buying a
stopping by the outlet,
I knew.
getting the Brandon Roy swingman.
And you probably see this as a good thing just because it makes life a little easier. We love us some convenience. In fact, it's a terrible thing, the de-seeding of us. Symbolically alone, the seed is the king of life. Adam gave his to Eve, and here we are, if you believe the story. If they take the seed out of humans the way we have watermelons, we're all dead ducks. Beans, peas, rice, coffee, corn, all seeds. Flour and oil started as seeds. All hail seeds. So what the hell is happening? In exchange for convenience, we are not valuing the seed's impact on health, biodiversity, and our food system. The genetic variability of most plants require seeds as essential to their evolution. De-seeded, artificially homogenized fruits rely on human intervention in the reproductive process, exposing the fruits to many pathogens. Plainly put, seedless fruits are not as good for you. They contain less fiber and have fewer minerals and vitamins than their seeded natural brethren. Seedless fruits also have fewer antioxidants, plant-based nutrients, and anti-inflammatory properties. But enough about this science. Bring back seeds because seeds are fun. Not to mention aesthetically and visually pleasing. Kids growing up today have sliced open a watermelon, have never sliced open a watermelon, and experienced the joy of seeing that juicy red flesh dotted with embedded black seeds. Nellie Doogie used to tell us if we swallowed a watermelon seed, a big melon would grow on our belly. It wasn't true. But as kids, we'd make a competition out of seed spitting. You extracted the big seeds from the melon flesh. Tongue only, never fingers or a utensil, and you'd see who could project a seed the farthest. Every summer we did that. This was before video games, kids. Made our own games and toys. Flew a kite, kicked a can, spit a seed. Grapes were the real challenge because the seeds were so much smaller. We'd both pop a grape in our mouth, tongue moving, jaws in action, and whoever could spit out 3 seeds onto the table the fastest won. To this day, I carve real pumpkins and eschew the free fab foam and plastic fakes, mainly for the treasure trove of seeds inside. Hundreds and hundreds of them waiting to be scraped out, cleaned, and roasted in the oven to become delicious natural snacks. Respect, worship, and bring back the seeds. I need a t-shirt that says convenience is overrated. Insist to your local grocer that you'll take your watermelon seeded, please, and the grapes too. I'm Greg Cote, and that's how it was back in my day.
Journalism is dead.
But journalism, as we know it, as you know it, what you wanted to do when you were a little kid, okay, it has changed. It has. It's changed, okay? You're not wrong. Stephen A. Smith is not wrong. You have to adapt sometimes, okay? Because the game has changed. Your priorities have shifted. No one cares how someone goes and gets the news that they get, as long as the news is accurate, as long as it's coming from a credible place. If it's Woj, if it's Adam Schefter, if it's you, if it's Diana Rossini, if it's Shams, nobody cares. You might care. Greg Cote might care. Stephen A. Smith might care. But you know what? You all sold out.
Dave, you have a back in my Dave for us here?
I do. Sorry for stepping on the Cote family toes here, but here we go. This is a movie-specific back in my Dave. Movie tropes used to mean something. You know what I miss? I miss the scene when the two guys are wrestling for the same gun, and then it goes off, and you don't know who got hit because they both make that same stunned stroke face at each other and hold it for like 7 seconds until finally after those 7 seconds go by, then somebody finally falls down. But really, it's a wasted 7 seconds because we already knew it was going to be the bad guy who died. What, they're going to kill the good guy? Mama didn't raise no fool. And I miss when zombies were at least nice and slow. At least I could rest easy with the knowledge. If there ever were a zombie attack, they wouldn't be able to catch me because you can't eat what you can't catch. Now, though, I feel like I'm living on borrowed time because of the fast zombies. And I miss when a semi-regular cause of death in movies and only in movies has never, ever happened once in man's recorded history. We've talked about this before. But like dying while fighting on top of a moving train. No one's ever actually died that way on the planet Earth. But hundreds, nay thousands of characters lost their fictional lives while throwing hands with an action hero. The death toll among just Bond villain henchmen alone has got to be in the 4 figures. And I miss how the bad guys in a high-speed chase were just good enough shots. They could always hit the back windshield, but just inaccurate enough to never actually hit anybody in the car. That's some seriously bad luck. And I miss when anyone would die in a movie, it'd always be with their eyes open. And I don't mean just like a little bit, but their eyes would, when people would die, their eyes would be all the way open. But then someone would come along and they would take their index finger and their thumb and they would close the eyelids on the dead person. But then movies being informed by older movies, they were like too much with the like specific digits using it, and then it just became like a whole hand, and they just like rub the hand, and then magically the eyes would be dead, would be close, and then they were just like, you know what, this whole thing is taking too much time. Let's just throw a sheet over them and move on. And I know a lot of people are with me on missing the days when movies weren't preceded by a half hour's worth of commercials. But the one that's plumb inexplicable and therefore deeply vexing is the one for the movie theater itself. Come see your movies at blank movie theaters. Hey, movie theater, we're already in you. Let's chop and make with the show, eh? And when the movie ended, it was over. You didn't need to sit through the credits unless you wanted to see the name of a family member who was a key grip or something up on the big screen. Now I got to sit there for an extra 5-10 minutes watching this scroll in small font to see if there's some leftovers to share. And I like leftovers, but still. And I miss when fraudulent Hollywood marriages were buoyed by public displays of assaulting wiseacre Oscar hosts. It's like being a beard in exchange for A-list status has lost all meaning. And this one, even it's not as bad as it is in Cannes, but still, I miss when the Oscars didn't require 27 standing ovations over the course of the night. I'm not against honoring enduring achievements, but come on, he who starts the standing ovation is really honoring himself for being a great guy as much as the person they're ovationing. So somehow clapping from a seated position now makes you a jerk if the person in front of you stands, and no one wants that. So now you've got to get up, and you know what that means for the person behind you. So now we're all standing here clapping like a bunch of jackasses, potentially wasting valuable seconds that could have been used to get a little further away from the fast zombies that are going to be here sooner rather than later. That's how it used to be back in my day.
Wow.
Very good, Dave. Great dismount there, Davey.
That was excellent. Greg Cote has a challenger to his throne. We should play that for him tomorrow to see if we could elevate Greg Cote's game at all. David, I did want to talk to you about the Oscars. It's the funnest day of the year for you. And Mike Ryan, you won a bet, okay? You won the bet when you said Robert Redford would be the last dead person honored by the Academy. And you also won the bet that Barbra Streisand would introduce him and then sing. You were moved by it, I would imagine. Mike Ryan burst out laughing, called the whole thing weird, and burst out laughing when the moment Barbra Streisand broke into song.
It felt like an impersonator doing a Barbra Streisand impression during the whole thing. It was like her to send it to the orchestra was about her. Like her whole entire connection point to Robert Redford was the Babs nickname. I guess that's a famous story. I don't know, but it felt very self-involved. And I was like, that was kind of really self-involved. That was more about Barbra Streisand than Robert Redford. And then the orchestra starts up, so I'm like, I guess we're going to get a montage. And then, nope, Babs started singing poorly for Babs. And it's just not tuned correctly. It was kind of like sad and funny and awkward.
She's not young anymore, so let's give her a small break. Recognize the fact that she's basically mourning the loss of someone on her level, realizing that she's like next. Like that's what happens when you're that age.
I wasn't viewing it through that way. I was also upset there was no James Van Der Beek tribute.
That's what I said last night, but then the counter was that he hasn't been in enough movies.
He's a TV guy.
What?
I was more upset about Bud Cort.
They have publicists get honored in that
I
thing.
don't want your life.
The idea that Mike Ryan would say that Babs is self-involved when she's like the original diva.
I know.
She's like the OG.
Still. Have you ever heard her duet with Donna Summer? They're legit fighting throughout the entire song.
Your thoughts in general about last night beyond the awkwardness of we honored the dead for a full 30 minutes.
It wasn't 30, but it was
Felt like
necessary.
long.
There were a lot of dead people.
I thought there were going to be several deaths during the length of that.
No, the show itself I thought moved well. I didn't.
10:30 was over, right?
Yeah, 10:32, 10:33, and time to watch the 8th and 9th.
That's because they cut off Brody.
No, I think it moved fine. And did you watch the end? I don't know if Dave did. There was a Conan sketch.
Yeah, I loved
the
it.
End that
Host
was,
for Life.
Sean Penn happened to win, and it was I'm forgetting his name, his character, Throwjack, Blowjack.
Lockjaw,
thank you.
Throwjack,
You were close.
Blowjack. Blowjack is a totally different
It
character.
was actually Bob Nutting.
Throwjack, Blowjack, Lockjaw. Okay.
It was right there. You just
I'm
saw
sorry,
my
Bill
brain work.
Nutting.
So Conan's the host for life, which he'd love to be, but now he's dead. They killed him at the end.
That thing had me for like 30 seconds. I'm like, are they just announcing that he's host? And then the bit came in.
See, so it worked.
Did you defeat Adnan in your annual rivalry of who will get more of the selections correct?
Yes.
You only had one difference in your selections. Yours ended up coming in?
Yeah, I had the documentary correct. It was Mr. Nobody Against Putin, where everybody was picking the perfect neighbor. But Mr. Nobody Against Putin was a better documentary, more important, allowed for there to be a political discourse, which is what I told you would happen. And out came the star of the show in Russian, talking about what needs to happen, what the issues are. Meanwhile, Sean Penn's publicist said, hey, it's not that I can't vape here. It's not that I'm too cool for you, but I'm going to go to Ukraine, which would be, in theory, more important than going to the Oscars. So there was a lot going on. So I was able to beat Adnan, and he texted me after that he wanted an immediate rematch. And I said, you got to get off your couch for a rematch.
Well, you can't have an immediate rematch until next year.
Well, he wants to get you. Basically, this is about you. It was, can you agree to and approve a show earlier than 10 days out?
Next year, we will do it with both you and Adnan in the same place. If you want to check out what we did last night, we enjoyed ourselves. It's on YouTube, and you can relive any of that with us if you'd like at your convenience. But what were the standout things from last night? Because we actually, before a lot of stuff was decided, we finished the evening.
Yeah, there were really no surprises. Everyone had the 4 major categories. You had one battle after another as Best Picture and winning the most Oscars.
How was Amy Madigan's speech?
So it was perfect. She's 75 years old. She had never won, and this was her opportunity to get up there. But she had people were curious whether she'd win because it had gone back and forth.
I guess that
with
she'd
her.
never even been nominated, right?
I don't know that. I don't want to be like Sid Thrift.
No surprises, though. Sid Thrift, for those of you who do not know, he's decided to mention a 1980s general manager for the Pittsburgh Pirates for some reason, thinking that anybody would know that reference.
You wear a pirate hat almost every show.
No idea who that is.
Oh, my. What bothers me is that why do you wear a pirate hat? For skeins?
I like the P.
So you didn't even wear it because of the Pirates.
Correct.
Outrageous. There is a very famous story of a GM who commented on a player who is not a real player. And I learned early in my media career with you, Mr. Le Batard, do not say that you know something when you don't know it because it's not right. I don't know the answer, whether Amy Madigan has been nominated, so I'm not going to fashion a guess.
Amy Madigan was nominated in 1986 for Best Supporting Actress for twice in a lifetime.
You just saw, though, David's general discomfort with publicly acknowledging he doesn't know something. You just saw it play out in real time. He had a movie question for him, and you felt and saw David's shame in not knowing the answer to every single movie question that is asked by anyone anywhere in the world.
I don't know, Trista. I pretty much just said I don't know.
I'm not throwing you a lifeline.
No? I really was hoping. This was the moment. This was going to be our moment right there.
You started the day today by saying she looked like she was wearing PJs. That you're not going to recover from that ever.
It's been hours.
That's a first impression.
No, that was not our first impression.
That's the first time you guys have been around each other where you've insulted her.
I mean, Trista, saying a girl looks like she's wearing PJs, that like conveys like sloppiness, right?
Yeah, slovenly behavior.
Have you not seen beautiful PJs before? Like sexy, beautiful PJs?
That's what you were saying.
That's lingerie.
So I'm wearing negligee to the Dan Le Batard Show?
That's what you were saying? That's what you meant?
No. I'm done here.
A nightie? Teddy?
Nightie is like for old people.
A teddy?
Yeah, a teddy. Teddy's better than nightie.
I told them back here, I said, I think David's been making a lot of eye contact with me. I think he's trying to form some sort of rapport, and I'm not giving it to him. I'm not doing it.
I can't wait.
He's going for rapport and repair.
I'm also going for trying to be good with Dan because this is part of me getting better at what I'm doing, is engaging with everyone in the room and looking around. Now I'm being criticized.
Well, it's where you started. I mean, that's an amateur mistake by you. I don't understand how you don't understand that that's not something you could do upon seeing the way that a person is dressed.
I saw her last night. That was the first time we met. And I introduced myself to the dog named Ollie.
Oh, good save. Good save there. Good save.
I know.
We saw it. We saw you thinking.
And
all
you
of us.
Why did you not?
Because
that's not love.
I was hoping that you would drown in it. Wait a minute. Who said anything around here was about love?
God knows it's not. You better have some thick skin. This teaches you all to be executives in sports.
Speaking of which, okay, I want to play something for you here because one of the criticisms of basketball announcing, and one of the reasons I believe Jeff Van Gundy now works for the Clippers instead of being a voice for the NBA as he had been for about 20 years, is because Adam Silver felt like Jeff Van Gundy didn't do a good enough job of accentuating all of the positive that is sales in basketball, all of the things worth celebrating. And I've noticed over the last few years, in fact, since Shaq got there, Inside the NBA, the single best studio sports show there has ever been, Inside the NBA has Shaq telling everyone that they should play the game he played down low and telling everyone that the way they play now isn't the right way, telling big men to be like him and just basically complaining about things. I've noticed this with Wilbon and Kornheiser as they've gotten older. You age, you get more conservative. You start complaining about more things. And it's a little startling to see Inside the NBA be the old person's show where generations now, plural, of athletes, I've heard this a number of times. Man, bleep Charles. Charles is from another time. Bleep Charles. I'm done. I'm not going to genuflect before Charles. Those are old guys who are just spending all their time complaining about the game. So let's listen to this sound here. Zaz, do we have some context here that you'd want to put on this particular sound?
Yeah, so I'm actually on my way home on Saturday night from the Heat game, all right, Heat and Magic, and I'm listening on the radio to the end of Lakers and Nuggets, which was a great finish, all right? Incredible finish to regulation.
They got a call wrong at the end of that game as well. The NBA has announced that they got a call wrong, and all they do is announce that. It doesn't change the result at all.
It doesn't make everyone feel better when they do that? I thought it makes me feel better. So Austin Reeves misses a free throw on purpose, gets the rebound, lays it in, they go to overtime. That shit never works, and it worked, okay? And then in overtime, Luka Doncic hit a shot right before the buzzer, and the Lakers win. I mean, it sounded like the most fun regular season game they've had this year. And so here is Inside the NBA, because the game I'm listening on radio, but here is the game ESPN on ABC. And here is Barkley, who has made his stance clear, really, for the last several years when it comes to the Lakers. Not a championship team, doesn't want to hear about them being a contender. So here, this is immediate reaction after the game from Barkley.
My worst nightmare is the Lakers winning tonight. And I have to listen to all the crap on Monday on all the talk shows how the Lakers are contenders.
If they get a home court advantage, will it make them a contender?
No. If they get the 3 seed, are you telling me they wouldn't be a contender? They're in the 4 seed right now. They're not. They're 3 seed. They're not a contender. What makes you a contender then? Please don't let them win. I'm going to be nail biting all night tonight because they're going to be talking about it all day Monday. Thank God I'll be in Dayton.
So, look, I love Inside the NBA. We all love Inside the NBA. But I think for the first time, I am a little bit concerned that it's a little too negative toward the game. Because what I'm talking about is, like, okay, not everything has to be big picture where, all right, the Lakers aren't a championship contender, but that was a really fun game we just watched. This was a fun regular season game. This was a fun night. Like, not everything needs to be about the destination. Wow, this doesn't matter tonight because this is not a championship team. I'll tell you, if that was the Heat, if the Heat won that regular season game, we all know the Heat are not a championship contender. And then just the entire conversation afterward was about how who cares about this? They're not going to win a championship. Like, I don't know. I think it's a little bit too negative.
Let's play some secondary sound from this broadcast as well, because I do want to get into this conversation.
And if you have to rely on a heavy diet of that, you're not going to win and you're not going to be a contender. I'm used to playing for coaches that wouldn't be happy with their game. Yeah, we won the game, but when you're up 15 early in the game, Chuck and Kenny knows this. That's when you got to put teams away, especially if
I said them for Nuggets, though.
Yeah.
Would you be happy beating the Nuggets?
No, but
I mean, if you did that against the Wizards.
You're up 15 at home. You got to beat them by 15 at home. Don't let them come back. Don't let them win.
But on the other side of that, though, Shaq,
that's not the league anymore. No. Like, who cares that you're up by 15? It feels like, and I know this is a trope about that show these days that they don't actually watch, but that really does feel like Shaq doesn't watch. That's the league now. Everybody comes from behind in a double-digit deficit.
Hasn't that always been the league? It's actually like less the league now because there's crazy blowouts happening in the league right now. That's just basketball. I don't know what era that he's speaking on.
Well, but Shaq specifically, okay, has told you as recently as last year, I can't name any of the Pistons who are now the 1 seed. There's all sorts of stuff these guys are missing. And Shaq and Barkley are there to just be Shaq and Barkley. That's their job. And let me explain to you how hard it is to get these people to do these shows. I heard all weekend Robert Horry not making any sense on the broadcast that he was doing because they had him doing like 70 Big Ten games because it's hard to get someone of even Robert Horry's stature to do the work for what these networks are now paying for this stuff. Like there is a universal philosophy across sports media these days, and sports media is some of the cheapest media you will see televised and broadcast anywhere. Pay the Eagles, starve the turkeys. I hear it all the time. And so a few guys get paid, but Robert Horry's got to do like 20 basketball games over the course of the weekend because of the few amount of jobs that there are. And when you look at this particular broadcast, Shaq and Barkley are either approaching 60 or over 60 years old. So entertain me on the conversation of what is their job, David, because Jeff Van Gundy doesn't have one right now, even though he was excellent, because the commissioner of the league thought that he was too negative. And before recently, the only person I had ever heard talk about a sport dynamic like this is your beloved Scott Boras when he used to talk about baseball during times that everyone was fighting over money and collective bargaining. And he said, baseball is the only sport in our business world that spends all its time kicking the can down the aisle of grocery food, kicking the can, and then putting it back up on the shelf and telling the customer to please buy it. This is super negative. What they have been doing for a while as they've aged has been negative. It's not a celebration of sports. They have fun, but they don't love what they're watching the way that they used to. They sound a little bit like Wilbon when they're complaining about the 53s a game, and specifically two of the experts you have loved playing in the post. They were better playing in the post than most human beings are in the post, so they're watching a distorted version of basketball. They don't like what they're watching. It's not what made them great.
It's why their days are coming to an end, because life goes on. Pat Riley's watching a game of basketball. It's not like the days of Red Holzman and the old days.
Feels like it.
It's done, and you're never going back. And when you cannot adjust to the new game, the new people, the young people, that's what being a dinosaur is. That's been going on forever. You age out of the role. That's what Barkley and Shaq have done.
I'm a little confused, and I'll have it with the sound on for the postseason. But wasn't it just like 6 months ago where the entire NBA world couldn't live without this show?
Oh my God, they did. I mean, the entire All-Star game last year was a tribute to Inside the NBA. That was the whole show.
But it was a joke because that was part of the business transaction that happened with Warner Brothers, because remember, they had signed these guys to these contracts. And once the NBA rights went away, they forgot to put in the deals with Shaq and Barkley. Smart move. Forgot to put in, by the way, if we lose the NBA, sorry, we can get rid of your deal. Oh, crikeys, what do? We don't have any games. No one's going to watch a pre or post game show without the actual game. We got to get someone to pay their salary. Who's paying it? Who's paying it?
ESPN is, right?
Yes, Disney. That's who's paying their salary. So that's how that worked.
Well, I think the whole thing has become a bit reductionist where they just want to distill everything down. And I think that's basketball sports media in general, which does not happen with the NFL, where it's like if this team is a contender, we talk about them. And like if you're not a contender, it's kind of like an ancillary type of thing that you see with Mike and the Heat, where it's like, we can't be excited about any games about the Heat because I know this team's not going to do shit when it matters. And like, I've already wrapped and Yankee fans are this way as well. Like, you just go down this spiral of negativity because everything is championships or nothing. It's just ring chasing. And it kind of takes a lot of the fun out of the 82-game season.
There's a generational difference here, though, on how this infection permeates the rest of the league. When I talk about the example of Scott Boras saying that once upon a time, baseball was taking a can of food, kicking it throughout the offseason when we're talking about money, and then when the season starts, putting it back on the shelf. The way these guys are talking about even a great regular season game is absolutely infected by the fact that nobody seems to care about the regular season anymore. So there's nothing that can happen in a regular season game, unless it's controversial, that's going to get anybody talking about the single result, because we all know now more than ever that any single result doesn't matter. It doesn't. If you're playing 82 of them or 81 of them, it's too many.
Well, as someone that is trying to correct my relationship with the NBA, because I default on that all the time, I was watching this game. It was a big game in the standings.
It's a great game.
It matters. It gives the Lakers now the 3 seed. You had all the stars playing. You had everybody caring. You had a finish that you never see. It does feel odd to me, and something that I would say in years previous, before I try to reshape my opinions on this thing, it seems toxic to the sport. Yeah. It doesn't seem like you're helping. And look, I can understand that maybe at TNT, but you're with a new partner. They saved your show. You're doing it out of the same studio in Atlanta. You're working with all the people that you love. Maybe, just maybe, like throw a bone to the NBA and the new partner?
You say this, Mike, but I'll remind you that we started the show today with Zaz, who's younger than Shaq, saying he'd seen it all and he's old and tired. Zaz is saying, I've seen it all, I'm old and tired. Shaq's played in some important games. He's sitting here watching a regular season game saying, oh, the Lakers are the 3 seed. Congratulations, Lakers. My standard is we are winning the championship every year. That's my standard.
Well, but I guess the difference is one of us, it's their job, and the other one is just I can make a choice whether or not I want to watch this or not.
That is a weird standard to have when you're covering the league as a whole. Not everybody has that standard. I can understand a jaded fan like that, like a Spurs fan of 20 years being like, man, this really sucks. This is a throwaway season. It's the NBA. Like, you're covering teams that are absolutely shooting for a championship. Those are 2 of them.
Yeah, they're trying to be genuine, though, and they're trying to react to what's happening around them, which is people not caring. So they're leaning into that. But now what you're saying is you lean into it so much that now you become the focus of the not care. But don't forget that ESPN and Disney, they're really all about, as they should be, the playoffs. They're about when people are really focused, and Shaq and Barkley are focused when it comes playoff time. But what's happened to the infection, as all do, is they spread. So now you see some first-round matchups where all of a sudden they're not as engaged. They're the blowouts you talked about with Miami-Cleveland. So now you're seeing regular season bleed a little bit into first round of playoffs, and before you know it, that's how you lose your sport. That's the fear.
Let me talk about something here, though, that I see happening in whatever is the new media of all the smoke and Draymond Green and Pat McAfee and younger-ish former players who have the complaint about what ESPN specifically has been over the last 20 years is, why do these people who did not play the game get to have the same standing as I do when they're not as expert as I am on this? One of the complaints that I've heard McAfee and others have is that the Pablo Torres of the world or the me's of the world, that we don't care about sports the way that we need to care about sports. I'm always more fascinated by the sociology of sports than I am by sports. But when you get to the age of Shaq and Barkley, do you know how hard it is for basketball to move them at this point? Like, anything meaningful to happen at any point in basketball, given the amount that they've seen and they've done, never mind in their playing careers, just in their broadcasting careers.
But that finish wasn't one of them?
No, not a regular. There is no finish I can give them in a regular season game that they're not going to yawn at, given the way the business of all of this has infected everything. How much do you think they actually love the sport the way it's presently being played?
Well, that's the question.
Like, how much do you actually think they love this version of the sport?
They obviously long for the time, what their game was. But I remind you that on an airplane, when you go through turbulence, pilots are fine, they've done it, and people in the back of the plane are freaking out. These guys have seen it. They've seen every finish. They've experienced it. It is March. You say it's a big thing for seeding right now. It's not.
But turbulence isn't enjoyable. Turbulence is never enjoyable.
pilots, they don't care
Basketball
about
is supposed to be enjoyable.
I don't want to take it to the top line issue that's been facing this league for years, but like the stars are miserable. No one seems to be enjoying the regular season.
That plays a part. You're right.
And we can't be that surprised when the analysts covering the sport follow the lead of the people guiding the direction
Steve
of
Kerr
this league.
loves telling you how there are too many games whenever you're willing to listen.
There is no bigger league that is in more need of a culture shift.
That's a good point.
I think we need to get rid of these former player analysts. Like, I just think we have way too many of them. I think we've gone completely the wrong direction. We're spending a lot of money. And David, I'd love to get your thoughts on this. But, like, the ROI outside of Chuck and Shaq and this crew, like the ROI on a former athlete analyst cannot be that high based on how much you have to pay them, and you're not bringing any enthusiasm or knowledge or preparation to the goddamn sport.
You're bringing knowledge, but not preparation. John Skipper on the sporting class with Pablo. He will talk to us about. I don't know who that was.
Keep it moving.
That was Zaz.
Oh,
Keep
sorry.
it moving.
Yeah.
You know what?
Right in front of me.
Minor penalty, 2 minutes, delay a show.
It's a shame.
God, I was really interested to know what he was going to
I
do.
was too, but you can't react. Zaz was
Can we
just
explain
doing
the
what
bit once?
No.
It's the marbles.
Minor penalty, 2 minutes for explaining the show.
Wow.
He didn't actually explain the show, though.
He thought about explaining the show, and that is an intent that he had, and so he's out of here on the intent. I need to break him of this habit because he's behaving poorly when
Is
it
that a
comes
double
to
minor
show
for him, or is
explanation.
that-
It's Mike Ryan.
Yeah, it's beginning to be a theme. I should not open my mouth on the NBA. It's crazy. Every time I'm penalized whenever I give an opinion on this sport.
It wasn't the opinion on the sport that got you banned. It was the desire to explain that Zaz has an inside joke bit that David doesn't understand. So we're going to stop and explain the show to David so he can play along with the others because he's behaving like an outsider by stopping the show in its tracks to ask a question about an inside joke that we keep it moving on.
If Adam Silver and the NBA's goal is to get more people to watch at all facets of the season, regular season, play-in tournament, in-season tournament, then you need more people excited about the sport. You need more people to inject enthusiasm and life into, like, this moment was awesome. Like, this intentional missed free throw from Austin Reeves never works.
That's all
and
I'm saying.
it worked. And then this step back from Luka, like, he had it going. He felt the stakes. He felt something about the standings. Like, I don't care whether it means that the Lakers are a real contender or not. Like, that moment was awesome, and these executives need to hire people who at least pair with these miserable fucks to make them happy and excited as well.
I'm as cynical as anyone these days about the NBA. I used to love the NBA. I'm very cynical about it these days. But like I said, coming home Saturday night, listening to that game, I'm like, this game's pretty awesome.
Well, the thing that I want to discuss as it relates to what Trista was saying is that given the present position of Shaq and Barkley specifically, never mind the stature of that show, they're not going to fake enthusiasm for anybody. And at their age, they're not going to be enthusiastic about very much given what their resumes are.
Listen, put me in that dress I was in last night with the nipple covers.
I knew it was
and
just
get
you
me
angling
exci-
for a job.
and-
This is what this
And get
was.
me excited. Not me specifically.
It is you
No. You can
specifically.
put
No, it's you
Taylor Rooks there.
specifically.
You can put Taylor.
No,
you
but
can put
Alley-oop
anybody there.
has this.
AlleyOopShow.com, DLS, Hoops, YouTube, right after the show.
You and Juju give positivity and enthusiasm about what you're watching, but the old people are still in charge, and these are the game's biggest power brokers. This is an untouchable show with guaranteed money, with people on it who have been doing it a long time, watching for a long time, and this is how all this stuff ages. Like, not everyone's Dickie V. Like, Dickie V's not faking that in his 80s. Not everyone's Lee Corso. But Dickie V and Lee Corso were failures as coaches, as they became media personalities because they were grateful to be able to become media personalities. Shaq and Barkley have taken a demotion on what they used to be, and they've been doing what they're presently doing, marching to an office to talk about games that they're not that interested in. And they're not going to fake the enthusiasm for you. All they're going to bring you is, we'll be Shaq and Barkley. That's what you get for your paycheck. It ain't going to also be, and I'm going to sell your sport the way you want me to. Hell, do you think you can tell Charles Barkley anything about how to do this?
Certainly not, but I think Ernie, at least, it's the onus is on him to at least steer the conversation to, wasn't that kind of fun to watch, though? Like, as we're watching a bunch of games.
And maybe he did. I mean, those were only a couple clips we played.
He did.
Like, maybe
he did. He did do some of that. And he knows, like, but he's also older. Like, this is how this stuff ages. I think it's a fair criticism of the people who cover sports to say the gatekeepers have always been the older people who have all the longevity and lifetime jobs. And now you're seeing the democratization of it as people develop their own audiences on YouTube and elsewhere, where the enthusiasm is carrying the day for other young people who have grown tired of it. But I'm going to tell you again, I've heard a number of complaints from people, man, bleep Charles, his time is past. Like, I don't think that. I don't think the grand majority of the audience thinks that. But they are tired for a long time of him being a critic in a way that feels to them like filled with more old man than the average critic.
And you mentioned the democratization of content and media, and it's really the people who have these independent voices that are the groundswell. I mean, you want to talk about, oh, maybe my besmirching isn't great for the league, but at least when you have enthusiasm on the lower end, you're lifting the tide that Charles Barkley and all of the traditional media is bringing down as an anchor. But yet the league, even though they want enthusiasm, they want to keep these people who have free voices out.
I don't think it's very easy, the task in front of Adam Silver, because you can fire Jeff Van Gundy if you don't like it, but you can't really do anything with the chief voices on this sport are old. Like, just help me give me who it is that are the biggest voices in young enthusiasm on basketball, the ones with the largest audiences, not the Shams who is just an information guy.
No, opinion voices.
But just enthusiasm voices. Like, I love this game. Like, you remember that was the slogan throughout the 90s. The slogan on all the nostalgia around NBA on NBC is, I love this game.
I forgot that.
No, now the slogan should be, I hate this game. I'm not kidding you. It should be among the gatekeeper old voices. Why would they have any enthusiasm for how it's being played? Why would Shaq and Barkley like to see 53 pointers a game? Show me how many threes Shaq took in his life. Tell me statistically, career shots, Roy. Look up for me, please, how it is.
I want to guess.
Let's take a guess on how many made threes there were in Shaq's career. What are you going to guess?
Oh, I think he's made one.
One in his career?
Yeah, and I actually
I say three.
I actually can remember it in my head.
I'm going over.
I think it's one.
It has to be more than one.
It's a big career.
Over under 3.5.
Under.
How many do you think he took in his career?
10.
10 in his entire.
He doesn't have 4 then.
Are you guys young, skinny Shaq? God, he was
Shot clock running down, running down the court.
I'm going 1 for 10.
1 for 10 for career.
Yep.
I'm
1 for 22.
Wow. It's pretty good,
so
right?
you remember the one?
I do.
You remember the one three that Shaq made?
I do.
Did it look like his free throws? Or he's just
it's like one-handed,
Shot putted.
He really has seen everything.
It was the 1995-96 season in Orlando.
Yeah,
of course it was.
Yeah.
You stop.
Oh, stop it.
I don't get credit yet. I just got everything right. I don't get credit for that yet.
31
Who was
years
it against?
ago.
Yeah.
Name the team.
No,
it was
that
against.
I don't know. But I remember where it was on the court.
Behind the three-point line?
Well, yes. It was on the left wing.
I can't with you, Sass.
I remember watching that Shaquille O'Neal, and it's literally unlike anything I had ever seen to that point. Watching someone that size, he was skinnier, but watching him go coast to coast dribbling the basketball was like, what the hell is happening?
Oh, that was the first
there?
game against the Heat?
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yep.
It was crazy to watch someone that size go coast to coast, and now he hates basketball. And why wouldn't he?
Where'd you say it was, Zaz?
Left wing.
I'm watching, like, I assume if he only has one, I'm seeing a three-pointer. It's like it's like a buzzer beater,
yeah.
And it's not the left wing.
It wasn't on the left angle?
He's at the elbow.
Fraud!
He just passes half court and he's like approaching the 3-point line on the right side of the court.
You got it right and then you got it wrong!